Welcome back, everybody. This is part 2 of the Prifddinas JMod podcast, with Ballor, Thorlah, Jascertes, Orange, Lime, Runic, Geena, Fang, Kitten, and Mod Stew and Mod Rowley. I am ePiKnight, as always. And Walter and Habblet are in the chat. So, we talked on the last part about the content specifically, so for this one we are going to be talking a lot more about the lore. And we'll start with the Seren Memoriam crystals. And we'll kind of just go down the list of in the chapters of the numbers that we've gotten from this part, from part 2. So, Memoriam Crystal 9 was exploration, and we've talked a little bit about this kind of stuff, before. This is where...
Yeah, this is one of those, hot topics now.
Yeah, it is. This is with the, regarding Haluned and the discovery of runes on Gielinor, and Seren's discovery of runes on Gielinor, and trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah?
Well, it says in the exploration crystal, the line that really jumped out at me was, the magic of the creators is woven into the stones is the key. I must find a way to use it to break the link, so that I may assist Guthix. That has so many things, it stretches out into everything. Seren was trying to do the exact same thing that Zeros was on a completely different, two different races. Seren, because she inadvertently did this to some elves, perhaps some humans, actually. And Zeros, because apparently he was being a nice guy, but,
Rip Ilyanka.
Yeah.
I kind of want to say
just a minor reminder, but the first half of what's written on the thread is batch 1.
Is it? No, it's not.
Yeah.
No.
No, it isn't.
Wait, no.
This is very similar to
that.
one of the batch 1 crystals.
Sorry, I was misreading that. I was like, wait, isn't this batch 1?
Nope.
Okay, yeah,
Nope.
I see it now. Alright, ignore me. I was wrong.
And then it very explicitly, we knew this already, but the magic of the creators is woven into the stones. And this all, links into this whole magic discussion. And at RuneFest, everyone was spamming about it during the lore session. It's all about how magic works now. And I think we're just now exploring what magic can actually do. And a lot of it is the manipulation of races, I think.
Yeah, so it seems like, it's interesting though, because as Fate of the Gods, from One of a Kind to Fate of the Gods, and now we're seeing the same thing with Seren, the way that she chastises Zeros about not fixing the Ilyanka's problem, and then now it seems like, she's having the exact same issue with the elves. It's interesting. It really is.
one thing I want to say that I kind of noticed is that it seems what Seren's doing here almost resembles what the Dragonkin are trying to do. She's trying to break her link to the elves.
Oh, that's true.
And the Dragonkin are trying to break their link to Jas.
Yeah. That's a great
true.
point.
I didn't think about that.
From the other side. Yeah.
Yeah, basically from the other side, but it's interesting. I'd
I'd
really like to see if the Dragonkin and Seren could get into a room together and compare notes.
No.
That would be interesting.
No.
No.
No. Just no. Anyways, Lime.
It seems like they're racing to find out this solution because...
Sorry, go.
It could save entire races figuring this out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like, as the crystals went along, and we'll talk about this more as we go through this, but, it seems like Seren figures out, the problem isn't as bad as she first thought, but, yeah. A raven's dream of burning Prif will come true. Oh dear.
Oh god.
Want that though?
The thing
Of
is,
course we
Raven
do.
would have to find a flammable substance to coat Prif with.
Elves.
Elves.
Crystal. Yeah.
Elves are flammable.
Elves should be
Although,
flammable enough,
something
right?
to say. Although it's pretty obvious that Raven's joking with the whole burning elves thing, but maybe from these lore crystals you can also start to see where that joke started to come from.
Yeah.
Can we? I didn't see anything, but maybe if I read it again or a third time.
It's the kind of the whole thing with the connection with her breaking and that being a cause of elf dying.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that part. Rip elves. oh, Raven. But yeah, we know he's not serious, and that's why we keep harping on it, because we know it's a troll, and yeah. But
It's our
Also,
favorite troll, though.
because of all of that terrible stuff he did to the dragon babies. And
it all started with his one of a kind. But yeah, so so the magic the creators woven into the stones is the key. It's interesting, like that. It's just all about the magic. It is the hot topic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is the hot topic.
Like, everyone has their own theory. I remember I think I posted the first magic compilation, like Unified Theory of Magic, and I ended up causing 3 other threads to be posted about magic.
It was all the people that disagreed with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, of course.
So my Unified Magic theory ended up disunifying.
It ended up
magic.
disunifying the lore
GG
community.
Lime, GG.
The Zealot War community.
You see, this is what happens when I try and do things.
Rip. Okay, so that covers the first one. Worth mentioning that Halunet is basically a tier 7 god because of Avatar of Saren. But, so the next crystal is Emanation, and this is where they found the Death Altar, correct?
Yes. This one was
Yes.
crazy.
Like,
I love this so much.
Oh god, yeah.
So, it basically says that, this is the part where Saren sends out Halunet into the world because that was in the previous one. Halunet discovers something, the Death Altar. And, where is it? Is it the Death Altar or the World Gate?
It's a Death Altar.
She finds the Death
She doesn't know where she never found the World Gate, right? Like,
Yes, she
she
did.
doesn't, or she came on the World Gate, but then she lost said World Gate.
Well,
I just lore failed.
Well, she gave it to Zaros.
she gave it to Zaros.
Yeah.
Which she regrets horribly, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, because don't be nice to Zaros.
Line, please.
Well, in all the memories, she's actually really positive about Zaros.
Yeah, she is. Like, she's nowhere near
like,
as
"Oh, it's
negative.
Zeros
I think-
again.
Because I think the way that I see it is that she was super distraught about the initial, like, leaving his ditching Ma the first time, but then as she's away from Ma for an extended amount of time, and then as the problems with the elves, she starts to realize the influence that she has on the elves. I think she
Starts to agree with Zeros' reasonings.
she starts to see his way of thinking. I don't want to say agrees with him, because I still don't think she agrees, but
She understands.
is sympathetic to what he's trying to do.
Mm-hmm,
I think it's just flat out that she's starting to become more like Zeros.
Okay.
Well, I mean that in a bad context.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
So she would be swearing, right?
What?
What?
Swearo? Have you guys not heard the
Swearos.
word Swearos?
Swearos and swearing. Oh man.
Zeros.
What is this? Yeah, we know Seercast, but what?
Yeah, it's Zeros.
Please, no, it's Sueros.
Swearos.
Did we just forget that?
Why is this a thing? Anyways.
What is it?
Because Mary Sue is a thing?
Oh no.
But no. Anyways. But yeah, so more magic stuff.
Okay.
What else is there for this one? She wondered if this energy could counteract her own and break the link. So these are all, I think these 4 are pretty much all about trying to break that link, that she's accidentally created with the elves. She did make the elves have significantly longer lifespans in the previous set. So she notes that they would regain or
lose their long life.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't lose their long life.
But has
Hold
she
on.
truly
What?
completely severed from them?
Yeah, she hasn't. She's not gone from them. Like it reveals later in which one. Was it revealed later or no?
I think
No,
it was
that
the
was
last one.
Yeah,
No,
That was
it
that was the last time.
Wasn't it in one of the
Oh,
books
give them a few
concerning architecture? Like, where is this? The architectural history of Prifddinas. It's in Ethel, and it says that the current
It's somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there.
I know it is.
Eventually, since Saren exploded, they used the crystal that Saren exploded out of in construction of the new Prifddinas. And that means that she hasn't left the elves, and in fact, that any progress she made has probably gone backwards.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Well, we could ask them about that.
Yeah, we could, considering that they're right here.
Yeah.
Hi!
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
Right.
So, what's the question?
I forgot.
Has Saren's progress on separating herself from the elves, has it gone backwards?
In being
you mean
Because she ended up not separating herself?
Yeah, she ended up becoming the city of Prif. Like, she's used in everything now. Like, they have crystal seeds, and they used her in the city. Although I will admit that the city hasn't been really used for a couple millennia.
That's the question, really, isn't it? That's the thing. There's a lot of ambiguity still. She believes it was working, but now that they've got the city back, is it still working?
How long
It's
was...
not something I'd want to answer or even hint at an answer because, you know, she's still an ongoing character. We've still got a lot of ideas for what we're going to do with her. And, it's generally what's going to be best for the character, I think, if and when she does come back.
Timeline question.
Did Carapack us if we ask about it?
Oh yeah, sorry, that was my answer. No. Yeah, forget all that other stuff.
No. So, timeline question for whoever can answer. When was Prif reverted to Seed, and when was that related to when Saren exploded?
It had to be Fourth Age.
Yeah, it was when Backstorian was out there before he officially went missing.
I think it was year 1600 or something.
So there was 1600 years in between when Saren exploded and when the city was reverted?
Yeah, there's a pretty big, significant gap.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. I was just how close was it? It's closer to the end than the start.
Ah, okay.
So then the elves really haven't been in crystal form. Prif hasn't really been in seed form for very long.
No.
Yeah.
Well, we say that, except it's been it's been
100 years. No?
For elves, not too long.
The Fourth Age was not that long, was it?
It was
2000.
If it was at the end of the Fourth Age, then there was 169 years of the Fifth Age.
Yeah, it was just a couple hundred years, which is nothing for an elf. That's an elf lifetime, less than an elf lifetime.
Outside the city would still be the ones that knew Prif.
Yeah.
Arguably, I suppose.
None of them would have been around from before Prif's creation, but yeah, well, all of them would, even if Prif hadn't been reverted. Interesting. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about that one. So the Enervation is talking more about the initial test with the death energy. Interesting that she used the Eorworth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They were willing volunteers as they both loved and trusted her. They created a range of spells, rituals, and blessings. So, Saren's spellbook, please.
Also, I'd like to point out that it looks like it was a particularly bad idea to use the magic that she wasn't experienced with.
Yep.
Because and use it on the elves that happen to be most important to the survival.
Mm-hmm.
AKA the ones that get the food.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah, there was something about deathly energy that made her feel something she had not felt for a long time. She enjoyed the sensation, which she describes as a memory of euphoria, but it was only ever temporary. It's like the companionship, because, as we mentioned before, you have, her and Zeros are the two opposite ends of the spectrum, and...
Unfortunately, she chose the magic from the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. It's the opposites attract argument, at least that's what it seems like, and the J-Mods can correct me if I'm completely off base.
I'm not saying anything yet.
That is a no comment. Okay.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you do disagree, please chime in and tell me I'm horribly wrong, because I probably will be multiple times.
After all, we are the lords of the lore fail here.
Myself especially.
Alright.
Usually Walter's the one that keeps me in check, though.
Yeah. Encyclopedia Walterica.
Yeah.
Basically.
When she was away from the energy, so when she was with the energy, she had that kind of euphoric. When she was away, she suffered withdrawal. So basically, the death energy was basically a drug. Yeah. And this, kids, is why you don't do drugs.
This is why you say no to Zeros.
Especially drugs imbued with the aura of death itself.
Yeah, that
sounds a little. So don't do math.
But if it's like Zaros, what could he do with the energy? If it's his spectrum of the energy, would that boost his powers? Would that be a key to this whole elder god thing?
Could be.
It's a good question.
Yeah. I mean, my thought at the time was just that it's kind of, that's the energy that he finds natural to him.
Mm-hmm.
It's the sort of thing that he has mastery over that end of the spectrum, effectively. So he'd probably gain more power from using the opposite end, which is what Saren's thought was here. It's something she's unfamiliar with. And,
which opposite end of the spectrum would Saren be?
Soul?
If we're thinking in runes, in terms of the runes that we have now, would it be like soul?
That's what I'm thinking.
Possibly. I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be an existing rune. I mean, there could be a direct opposite, like a life energy that isn't captured in rune form.
Mm-hmm.
Yet.
The runes that we have are this kind of packaged up energy that Guthix thought would be useful to humans.
The Astral Rune version 2, the Life Rune.
Oh, poor Guthix. Always helping out.
I always did hope you guys would introduce a life rune one day. But we still don't have a soul altar.
We go back to beta summoning. Yeah, we still don't have a soul altar. There aren't enough things to use soul runes with for that to be feasible, though.
I imagine that soul runes would be used more with invention, but...
Yet.
That would be cool.
Like, what would you use a soul for? A golem.
I love that idea.
Tying that into stuff that I know.
A lime bot. Speaking of which, Lime, how did you lose your lime bot? How did you manage that?
I have no clue. I don't know where it went.
Rip.
It's
Probably
gone.
dropped it or destroyed it. Whoops.
No, I didn't destroy it. It's gone.
Did it get lost?
Just up and walked away. Okay.
It's lost.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's live lost.
It's live lost.
That's so odd. That sucks.
It went off to have its own adventures.
Well, you have to kill
So it's a gall?
Yeah, don't worry.
Lime failed his lime bot.
So Lime's lime bot was a gall.
It's its own quest to
So that means that you have to find it. Good luck, Lime.
I'm sure Stu can help you with that. Although whether it's easier than last time is...
Or maybe he'll give you one clue a week, right?
This wasn't as hard as last time, right?
It's going to be way harder. Have you looked down the stuff in your POH?
Yeah, I checked. It's not there.
I
It's completely gone.
And before
Stu
Stu
may or may
mysteriously
have
finds
not
it.
stolen it.
Stu has
before
stolen
Crest
it to
took
give
it
it
back.
pack for experiments.
Oh
I'm
god.
gonna have to find another one.
Go. Anyways.
Spend that time at Dem Autos.
Or you can just use ZKH for your Crest bot again.
Way to do it.
In the group pictures.
I still haven't had a line box.
Oh, I don't have one. I haven't
I
been
have
at
one.
Automatons much.
I used
Anyways.
to get 99 range.
Anyways, this was my fault. We're off topic. This is
Yep.
completely my fault. Yeah, so we have Saren aborting the test, sealed away the energy. It's not the answer she was seeking. Okay. Anything else anybody wants to mention about that one specifically? Before you go to the next?
I'm good.
Expectation is the 4th, or the 12th, I guess. She was so focused on freeing the elves in her efforts in the past that she completely failed to notice that the entire rest of the world was burning.
It's been being conquered by Zeros. And I don't know how you get into, like, this logical leap here, that if there's an ever-expanding empire, you should go out and hug it. But you really shouldn't do that.
Oh, you go and... haven't we learned from Civ 5 that you at least greet the other emperor?
First thing you do...
Unless the other emperor is Gandhi.
What you do is you play the pacifist like Gandhi, and then you build nukes.
The only NPC you don't greet is Gandhi. You just war that motherfucker.
But yeah, this is interesting though. Like, Saren's empire never really extended much out of...
It wasn't even an empire.
Out of Tyrannun, what didn't it? At least not at that point.
Not really yet.
No.
Like, so Zeros literally had the entire world?
Yep.
Basically, the Exorians seem to have like a slight part of like the Ardoon area, and that's
well, he had the entire northern half of the planet.
Yeah. I don't know if he like controlled everything, but he at least
he totally
did.
It reached the borders of the Elven lands. Like
he could not get the Caribbean desert. He could not get the
borders.
Can we have a map of this?
Yeah, because how far west does he go with his empire? Because he seems like he's close enough he could send Char on a secret mission, no problem.
Yeah. I don't, well, I'm holding it up to the camera right now. Can you see it?
I wish.
I wish.
I don't think we have that map, at least not easily accessible, but yeah, he was his empire was quite expansive. And I think even those parts that he didn't own, they were afraid of him, so a few couriers and riders.
There were like 2 major locations he didn't have any control over, and that was the desert and the Elflands.
He didn't have Wushenko, though.
Or did he?
Please, as far as you know.
He didn't have the areas that I like, and that's good.
There might be some information on that with Ports 3, but...
Oh, no!
Just find a random Nex.
Oh god. You didn't
Next
realize
to
that
Fortune
Zeros made it... Zeros expanded his empire.
It's interesting in the port story that it's relatively... I mean, they don't worship gods there, and there's possibly a good reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good thought.
Possibly. Meaning there is. We'll find out.
Well, I mean, he is the one writing this stuff, so... I mean, and we do know that the God Wars were a thing, and what's to say that they didn't happen in the Wushenko Isles? Like...
Yeah.
I don't think
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm sure they had forts back
then. And then that turned everybody off of gods. Like this is, and I'm saying this in defense of Zeros, instead of saying like, oh, Zeros came in and conquered everything and now everybody hates the gods. Because I don't like that, but yeah.
My personal opinion is that the thing that, oh gosh, I can't remember her name, the immortal one, adventure,
Quinn?
she tried to throw herself in. Zuzu?
Oh, Zuzu.
Zuzu,
that
yeah.
thing's a crater from a god getting killed.
Huh.
And that big, gigantic hole is kind of like their big reminder, like, hey.
What is that hole called?
Don't mess
the
around
hole
with
of...
That is the bottom, wait, no.
A hole in the world.
That one.
Yeah. How did I not know that?
I don't know.
It's
Interesting.
kind of an easy name.
It is an easy name, but it's like too easy. Yeah, it's too obvious, too easy.
But
interesting.
Yeah, I don't think anything explicitly says that there weren't God Wars over there.
We don't know much though, because
we don't know very much.
The lore that we have is entirely ports based, and we haven't covered it. I mean, I guess technically we have what's his face in Phasmodus, but
or Deadliest Catch.
He doesn't count.
Sideways.
But yeah, that's all we know about that.
That
but yeah, like the Zeros' empire, like I don't know, I never grasped that it was literally the entire planet except for the desert and the Elflands.
That would explain why Tumikin would say, "Gotta blow this up."
Yeah, no, Tumikin was before Zeros.
No, that was
during his
during.
That was
during one of his conquests. That's right.
That was when he tried
to take conquest push. Speaking of which.
And yes, I just lore failed. Stop. Walter says, "Stop making me do my job."
Corrections, yes.
Only hired you for 2 things, Walter.
What do we pay you for anyway?
We don't pay Walter.
Shh.
I'm not supposed to.
If he doesn't check his account, he won't know.
But yeah, so I'm more like this entire of these particular memoriam crystals. This is the one that's like, holy crap, Zeros has everything. And I had no idea, because I thought it was like, so we had 4 in 3, and the area immediately south of that, and then pretty much all of Kandran was just kind of neutral or whatever. Somebody else had that. I had no idea that he literally had everything, and I'd love to see a map at some point.
Yeah, I mean, some of the places where Saradomin and all of those guys had their bases, their strongholds, so he may have been widespread, but there would have been pockets that he didn't have.
I'm curious about Kandran, though.
I'm pretty sure that Bandos would have holed up in the Troll Hills.
Well, yeah, he would have been in Feldip.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's his place, yo.
And Sarah Derp would have Intrana.
Just Intrana.
Just
Intrana.
Just
be chilling on Intrana. That would be it.
He's just sitting on the beach.
Yeah, Kandaren would have been a lot of Armadillo.
But wouldn't he be in the Citadels?
Yeah.
Well, Armadillo would have been in the Citadels.
But then
would have been in the skies as much as he could.
Yeah, that's one temple.
We have Ekov, that's Zamorak. Well, no, Zamorak wasn't a god at this point. What am I thinking?
No, that guy
Zamorak was.
They're talking about Zeros' empire.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what? Hold on a second. Yeah, okay. Sorry, that was a lore fail. I really need a lore fail, like a lore fail picture. That whenever I lore fail, which is frequently, I just put it up there for 10 seconds.
You do.
We could just keep the background of the podcast. What's that?
Flashing it, flashes. Lore fail alert! Lore fail. Anyways.
Hey, so, shall we move on?
Yes.
Yep. Yes, we should.
But yeah, this is the one I was most interested about.
Saren immediately thought that the Empire was Zeros, and she was right, because Zeros is the king of the world. And this is the meeting that we saw during Fate of the Gods, the Fate of the Gods Memoriam Crystals, and now we get to see both sides of that, and that's really cool. Really the hold that they have on each other has kind of worn off, and I think that's a little hint that, or does it say explicitly? This is
or has it?
Like that. It's the it does say explicitly. Magic can just kind of wear off, and that's how you can solve what happens to the elves. And I suppose that if you just took the Dragonkin away from Joss for long enough, they would stop being so mad. Maybe.
But at the same time,
I'm saying that, like, you need to take them out of the universe.
Pretty much.
I like the solution. No more raging.
No comment.
Have we solved it?
We just got a no comment, guys. They got
We
no
win.
comment.
GG. The first no
Guys,
comment of the podcast.
We've spoiled all the lore.
That's not a spoiler. It really isn't.
Suspicion.
No, I mean, regardless if we had any part of that right, there's going to be more than we could ever imagine, so, you know.
And bear in mind, all of my theories on everything have had a 100% fail rate.
That's true.
It's so
Just
true.
Keep trying, though. Keep trying.
Eventually you'll get a 1% success rate, Lime. Eventually.
I'm sitting on this like super awkward, most of my theories have not been confirmed rate.
And then there's a Stranger Power still.
And then there's Nomad the Green Knight, so I mean...
Rip.
Rip in pepperonis.
Rip in peace, Nomad.
Or not, because he's alive.
That's
you
true.
also have to ask the question of whether or not this perceived lessening of the effect they had on each other was actually true, or if it's just something that...
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I think Saren's optimistic.
Were they
Saren's completely insane, but we already knew that bit.
I think what a lot of the memos show is that both Seren and Zaros are often quite wrong a lot of the time.
So Zaros is Lime.
In the sort of
No,
mortal
well,
sense.
what, did you just say Zaros makes mistakes? You know that's not true. I mean, he's perfect in every way.
Of course. No, he's perfect in every way.
See? Confirmed. No.
I'd like to think he made a really huge mistake, but...
Oh no.
More fun that way.
Oh dear. You want Geena?
Fate of the gods.
I'm sure he completely intended to fail the desert expansion campaign. I'm sure he did.
Oh,
yeah.
he of course knew that was going to happen. That's why he did it. So he could show weakness and then come back and, get killed.
So he could show his followers that they're not invulnerable.
Yes. See?
And so that
Tumikin
to a giant explosion.
With Tumikin and his kaboomium.
It was all foreseen so that Tumikin would blow himself up. It's flawless, guys.
Yeah.
He knew that Tumikin had a huge stash of kaboomium and he wanted it gone.
Kaboomium.
That's a Guild Wars 2 reference. There's this dungeon and there's this dude in it who has his unpatented explosive called kaboomium, and it's brilliant.
Oh dear.
You have to find this item for him that puts the boom in his kaboomium. It's my favorite line of the whole dungeon.
Oh man.
Wow.
That's a thing.
I remember that one.
Alright,
so yeah, what?
Alright, so in any
Going
event...
back on topic.
Yeah.
We didn't get that far off topic this time.
We were talking
Kaboomium?
about Guild Wars, man.
But we talked about that for like 15 seconds, like that's fine, whatever.
It's okay.
It's when our tangents go on for 5-10 minutes that the problems start happening.
But we're master tangenteers, everyone knows this.
We are, but anyways, going on. She told him of her journey through Guthix's gate in hopes that he could find his answers elsewhere. Her and her elves wouldn't require a way back. So this is where she hands over the gate to him, basically.
Big mistake.
What use does she have for that?
She realizes at this point she can't go back to Tardiad because all the elves will die. The elves can't go back to Tardiad because the elves will die. Like, yeah, she done goofed
on her end.
But yes, and then okay, so that's the end of the third chapter. Do we have anything else to say about any of those?
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. Okay, so and then fourth chapter begins with a bang.
Zaros dies.
Yeah, Zaros dies. Zaros is dead.
Yeah.
Rip.
I love her reaction here.
She's like, wait, I can't die, or can I?
She really starts to question her own mortality.
Yeah.
Right.
But she knows, she sees that he's dead. He's not dead. He's just been weakened to the point of...
He's almost dead.
He's been banished from the world and is so weak that he can't do anything else. Like, I guess that's...
He's Voldemorting.
Yeah, he's totally Voldemorting.
Okay, that's Zaros' ball.
Like, it's like a thing like they're not dead, they're just sleeping. Inside out, and upside down, And there are problems.
In 8 pieces.
We need Poland Ball for the RuneScape gods. We do.
Oh god.
Lime, get on it.
Lime, go.
But I can't draw.
MS Paint has a circles option. You're all good.
MS Paint has a circles option.
But Kitten is a Photoshop. Not lime.
How else do you think those are made?
But this is a lime thing. Anyway.
Wait a sec. Whatever.
MS Paint has a photo.
He's like, wait a minute.
So lore.
Yes, so lore. So Zeros dies, and immediately Saren is like, wait a second. Can this happen to me? And if it can, then...
I should be more careful.
Uh-oh. It is interesting, though, that up until this point, it seems obvious that she's like, oh, I'm immortal, I can do anything. I can literally do anything, and there's no thread. And at this point, it's like, hold on a second. And if I die, then the elves die. I don't want that to happen.
Mm-hmm. She's like, well, I need to get moving now. Come up with something. Anything. Even if I'm in the line of fire.
Yeah, there was a great series of lines in that too. Just, it shows how much she cares for the elves and how afraid she is that one mistake on her part could mean their lives.
Well, it's similar from what you saw for, what she was saying about Ma in the first batch of Memoriam crystals from Fate of the Gods. Is like, it's the same kind of protectivism?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a
protectiveness?
Yeah. Like,
there we go.
Yeah, like, she would give anything for the elves. Except at this point, her life. Because she knows that her life would mean that the elves die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is when she's really like, I really shouldn't have tied them to me like that. That was an oopsie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she realized it early, like almost right
Look
away.
at Ma. She's fine.
Yeah, that worked out really well, guys.
Yeah. Got him.
She's awake now, it's alright.
Nailed it.
It's all good. She's just taking a trip around the universe, to clear her head.
She's not even in a clone anymore.
It's her vacay. It's her eat, pray, love moment.
Oh my god.
Ma, pray,
here
love.
we go.
Nothing
It's not like
could
the world
possibly
She's
have
going
gone
on a
wrong.
world buffet tour, trying out different cultures and cuisines.
How many elves can I eat in 15 minutes?
The world may never know. It might know when it's being digested.
Ma versus food.
Anyways, moving on.
Alright, so, Zeros' empire crumbled because empires don't last forever.
Without their leader, yes.
Oh, really now?
Yeah.
They actually don't last forever. Even with a late leader.
And Saren's getting worried about mortality.
But yeah, Saren, I think, assumed that because all of Zeros' followers didn't, immediately die when he supposedly died, she was like, oh, then his empire will continue. But it obviously didn't. I mean, but that's what happens when your empire is being attacked on all sides, because literally you have the entire planet.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what happens
Everybody
when you make
wants you
enemies
dead.
with the entire planet.
Yeah. All the gods turned on him, and then they realized, wait, Zamorak's the problem. Then they all turned on Zamorak, and then Zamorak was like, okay, that's enough, and then the God Wars
And then they
started.
all
It's the
turned on each
emergency
other,
button.
and then everything happened at once.
Then shit
Great
happened and
summer.
everyone died.
Except
Rock
for the
fall,
gods.
everyone dies.
Who all just ran.
Alright, but yeah, then this is the anger?
Yeah.
Yes. His life's work is being undone by fear and jealousy, and in time will be forgotten entirely. Rip.
And that's exactly what happened. He's the empty lord, he was forgotten. that was exactly what happened. She's spot on.
Good riddance.
Lime,
The better
please.
job of being
Don't make me go and kill you.
Lime, don't make me beg Mod Rowley to put the Zaros all over the ports area.
Oh yeah.
No.
Zero.
There'll be a Zerosian
Taking over
golem
mostly
just for
armless.
Lime. Right, Rowley?
In Faramsha.
Right now.
No comment again.
It's not in development yet.
The Zeros did a better job of being Gothics and being forgotten than Gothics did.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's unfortunate.
Sick burn, man.
Rip Andy.
Burn.
Shots
I mean, technically
fired.
that's right.
Just
Which is even funnier.
Fair, people were trying to bury history of Zaros on purpose.
Burying history?
People didn't want to forget Gothics.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Your quest
people...
like,
Burying
Zeros
history.
was like the big bad guy that everyone wished to forget. Like, nobody wants to, when you're a kid, nobody wants to keep hearing the story about the boogeyman.
Well, and it didn't help his matters that his like high citizens were demons. So when you have the humans take over the world and the demons were the ones that were the slave drivers, the slave owners.
The demons were demonized.
Yeah, like you don't...
And technically correct is the best kind of correct.
Yeah. Like, that's exactly what it was. Huh?
That word, the word demonized only exists because of what happens to all those demons.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For real.
Yeah.
And yes, so they were... Yes, and that's... So he's the one that was controlling those demons. The humans were repressed under that. They realized this. They want... And then to make matters worse, his second in command took over all those demons and committed huge atrocities with them called the God Wars. Like, you have all sorts of reasons that they would just want to wipe Zeros off the face of the planet. And then on top of that, you had the God Wars, which wiped the face of the planet. So, you know.
Yeah, just clean up all the rest.
So yeah, Zeros was annihilated, and every memory of him was destroyed. Well, most.
Not every.
I said
almost all.
Some memories of him.
I would say almost all.
For the most part, Zeros was removed from the Earth, and most of his empire was completely ripped apart by the enemy gods. We knew this already.
And because of this, Saren was like, I'm not letting them go anywhere near me.
Yeah.
Go away.
Like,
away.
nope.
Shoot. Out spot.
Shove the non-believers.
Baxtorian held the underground pass against the Zamorakians. And that was how much Saren interfered in the God Wars. Unfortunately, that was enough to get her banned.
Well,
I think it was more so Gothics just lost his patience overall.
Well, I don't think it was that it got her banned, but she was a god.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah. But a mascot was allowed to stay, even though technically...
And they had their own content, weren't involved in the God Wars and are tier 6, so I mean,
they were weak enough that hypothetically Gothics could do something about it relatively easily.
Yeah,
they weren't.
It
didn't matter.
They didn't get themselves involved in the God Wars, and they certainly weren't enough of a major threat to the world.
I mean, then you have the guys like Eclaron who are helping out, and it's like,
yeah,
why
like
get rid of them?
You can't get rid of Eclaron or else the afterlife breaks.
Yeah.
Death starts crying because he's getting overworked. I signed up for 9 to 5.
Not 5 to 9. God damn it.
Fix this, Jamflex. Just like in his big dog voice.
So,
there was technically a lore fail when Ixlaron works longer than he was told. Ixlaron works longer than he was told he had to.
So, Zeros
he just failed to read his contract.
He missed the fine print.
I want to renegotiate my contract, Death.
Too late. Lol.
God damn it.
Too late, broken the law already.
Go on.
Take Muncher for a walk.
Like, while Zeros was Saren's Zeros' big bag neighbor, then Saren could make sure that she wasn't going to be attacked or anything, because oh my god, there's her big brother standing right there.
Yeah, the big brother will never attack.
He's standing as a...
And everything
He's standing right there. But now that big brother has
tumbled down.
He's kicked the bucket. Saren had to defend herself, and by doing this, she creates the barriers out of anima that, like, the wards that protect Terranwind.
Mm-hmm.
And she orders all the elves to retreat into the forest, which they were all doing. And hoped that if Zeros could be forgotten, then she could be too. And that the world wouldn't touch them anymore. So
she was right.
They can't get in.
Yeah.
People forgot about the elves.
Well, for the most part, there was some trait, and then
I mean, they were
like, who the heck are these mystical people?
Yeah.
They had no idea.
Yeah, remember there was a Halloween event where, specifically, there was an elf in it, and he was just called the Mysterious Stranger, because nobody knew what the hell he was.
But then you have to remember that the elves didn't, like, this was not the last time the East saw the elves. Like, there was Baxtorian's Empire.
Oh, yeah, but...
They buried the secrets in the same way that they buried Zeros.
Well, that's because that's what history is written by the victors. Like, that's what happens, though.
Yeah. So, Baxtorian wasn't really buried. He fell apart after Glario went missing. And
his empire
was expanding. They didn't have time to keep history books, so it just became myth and legend.
Do you guys have a definite answer for that? What happened to her?
To Glario?
Mm-hmm.
No, we never know.
Oh.
I like to think that Galariel just, died.
Probably.
Do the J-Mods have it in your big book of lore? Do you have... I don't need to know what it is, but, like,
you don't have to tell us, but
is there a thing that, like, is it decided what happened with her?
Probably have something written down somewhere, yeah.
Because
there's not even any hints as to what actually happened in game. It's just something happened and she just poofed.
Gone.
And then Baxtorian fell apart. And because he fell apart, what was remaining of his empire fell apart in the exact same way that happened with Zeros' empire, except on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
Smaller as it took up like a quarter of the world instead of all of the world.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's a thing.
Are we moving on to the most depressing one now?
The melancholy? Yep.
And the incidents at
Thorlah.
Did somebody say melons?
No. Actually, we did not.
No melons.
Aww.
No more melons.
Well, if you do, I'm here. I'm Melon Lord.
Okay. But yeah, so the melancholy is the third part of the fourth chapter, and it's talking about how Saren withdrew from the elves as the elves withdrew from the world.
She was pulling Zeros. Like, she was trying to restrict her access to the rest of civilization.
For a different reason, but yes, that's exactly what she was. Actually, I guess it's a slightly different reason, because Zeros pulled away to try and let his empire do its own thing, because he didn't want to be as hands-on at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really evident now. She did similarly, but...
Wait. Walter,
no, am I failing again?
He did it because he made people loyal to him.
Encyclopedia Waltanica. Answer, please.
Awalterskong.
Yeah, it's nearly this. Yeah, it's nearly the same.
Pretty much the same thing.
Encyclopedia Walterpedia.
But it's not just like the people of the Zerosian Empire were not dependent on Zeros. Well, they kind of were, but not like physically dependent. The people of Saren civilization were dependent on
physically dependent. Yeah.
Yes.
That's very true.
This was trying to break that physical dependence.
Yeah. And in both of these cases, it was trying to,
for the most part, it seems that Saren was more successful in doing what Zeros was trying to do, because the Elvish civilization endured for a long time.
Yeah, it did.
So, apparently, the experiments on the Yorworth are coming back to bite her, because the Yorworth lady is now suddenly, they're becoming more troublesome. They're second-guessing Saren at every single turn. Lady Yorworth wants to go and like
pick a fight.
Yeah, they want to do something. They want to go and invade something. But Saren's like, no, let's just stand here.
Let's be good actual humans. Elves.
Let's just stand here and stare at our enemies, hoping that they drop dead on their own accord.
Sounds like a fair plan.
So the Yorworth didn't do anything yet. She says that it was encouraging to see the Yorworth planning on their own, but it worries Saren greatly because these were the dark thoughts that you were having, and she inadvertently implanted them in the Yorworth.
Yep, and that's where the Dark Lord comes from.
And
then, that was the Dark Lord.
Yes, and then there was a super patronizing comment in this right here. She says that she can control her impulses, but she doesn't think the elves can. And I actually find that offensive to elves.
I find it kind of funny.
Like, it's so patronizing.
No. That proves that Hallined is the Dark Lord, though, doesn't it?
Like,
wait, what?
Like, she says that the mortals
she
are
called
so much
back her
worse
proxy and pumped in all the darkness.
Wait, what? Hold on.
She says that
acceptance.
oh, it's in the next one. Okay.
My bad.
She says that she can control her impulses, but the elves obviously cannot. Like, what gives?
Oh, I recalled my proxy and into it poured all my negativity, my darkest thoughts, my fears and regrets, and then sent it away from the elf lands where it could do no harm. But then if Haluned became the elf Dark Lord, then what happens with Eluned?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Perhaps Eluned is a descendant of Haluned before Haluned became the Dark Lord.
Or it could just be another part of Saren.
I still think they're two separate things.
They have to be, don't they?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Or maybe Haluned cast out any little bit of good that Saren left in him.
Yeah, that's what Walter says.
And that's Eluned.
It might be Eluned is the second Haluned in a sort of way.
That's a thought.
Because, like, Haluned clearly went bonkers, and then she might have needed another one.
Well, Haluned didn't go bonkers. Like, it was like created that was gonna happen.
Like, she poured all the darkness into Haluned, and that became the Dark Lord.
So we killed another demigod. Guess so.
Yes.
We are winning Sasuke's game right now.
We're up in the
Of course we are.
We're good at this sort of thing.
Armadill's in second place. Ha.
That sucks.
Now let's kill a mascot to confirm
No.
God kill.
Yeah,
this is not happening.
No.
Amasket, we really do want to kill you, so sorry.
That's too bad. I'm not dying yet. My story's not over.
Shut up.
I am a god!
Fear me. Where's my Zeros? Oh, I don't feel like going and finding
instant
it.
terror packing by the J-Gods in the chat.
The instant just nope, not happening.
Probably because they're saving a mascot for Bandos.
Let's bring Tumikin back, open Menaphos, and let's go to Abina. Now. And win this 7th age. Jascertes, please.
That's just a general outline, yeah.
General outline.
We cannot even see the rails from where we are.
We can't either, it's okay.
You probably turn the lights back on then.
Oh man.
What lights? We can't afford electricity here in Gielinor.
Hey, who turned out the lights?
Anyways. But yeah, so this is, and acceptance is the last part, and this is where...
Here we go.
And this is where she's like, alright, well... Rip. I have to go, yeah.
I like the 4 stages of grief kind of played here too.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I did.
It's the 4 stages that Thorlah was going through as well.
Yeah, she encourages Backstorian to go east and create his empire, and so that the elves can, well, not create his empire per se, but just to go east. It ends up that he will create his empire, and that goes pretty badly. But the wars have ended, so it is time for the elves to go back.
Yeah.
So I'm having this leads me to believe, well, this and a bunch of other of the previous stuff leads me to believe that Saren will do exactly one thing in the 6th age. Stand exactly in Prifddinas and watch.
I mean,
Yeah, probably.
it depends, it depends on what Zeros has to say about it. Cause when Zeros was a thing, she didn't just sit by and watch. That's when she was actively out on the world, and now that Zeros is back, it's not his empire, but there are no real major empires like that right now.
But what is he gonna do when he finds out she's shattered? He just came back. He got kicked out before she shattered.
Zeros is not planning to rebuild his empire.
No, he's not. He has no intention of doing that.
Thank goodness.
Line, please.
It'd be funny if he did it by accident, just for his followers. Like, whoops. Okay.
Oh,
He
you
just
can tell
walks through a town.
Azanadra is planning to.
I'm sure he'd be happy, yeah.
But I don't understand how Zeros could be Saren's security, if he doesn't have an empire. The big thing with, the Zeros...
It's not so much security as it is an ally.
And
he's a tier 2 god. I mean, he's gonna be able to do something.
Think of how many people have allies right now. Very
None.
few.
Yeah.
If any.
And she has an empire, even though she may or may not realize it, because she's still shattered. And I do have to ask, does Zeros know that Saren is shattered at this point?
I'm guessing he does, but as in we don't know because, we haven't seen him since Fate of the Gods. But he said he was going to go exploring, so.
That's why I'm asking.
There's only one person to ask.
Rowley, hi.
It's not something I'd answer outright, but okay. I would say Zeros is back, and he's going to want to find out. He's going to kind of want to catch up a bit on history and where everybody is, and gather information on everything.
Are we possibly going to see this in the quest coming out in a couple weeks?
I actually have no idea. I've not actually played it yet.
Alright, fair enough.
Not been involved in it. But I think he'd want to know what happened to Saren, and I think he probably would. But yeah, you're right, it's not something, you need to see it in game first for that confirmation. But
I would assume that would be one of the first things that he does, honestly.
I think it's more logical that he would get kind of military strength and that sort of information before finding out what happened to his sister.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Maybe, yeah.
He's only focused on the Elder Halls, nothing else right now.
Also, I'd like to point out that he'd probably like to know what happened to 4 and 3 before he goes any further.
I'm sure he knows by now. I'm sure it took him about a total of about 3 seconds on the world to know that something really not good happened there.
Yeah.
Because it definitely was not a wasteland when he last saw it.
That's possibly something that Azanadra could have told him before he even came back as well.
Oh, that's true. That's
He's
true.
been getting him up to speed.
Would Azzy have known about Saren?
Maybe not about Saren, but definitely about the wilderness.
Wilderness, yeah.
Because if Azzy would have told him that, then there's a good chance that Azzy would have already filled him in on...
But Azzy got sealed up before the end of the God Wars.
Yeah,
but
he wouldn't have known.
Yeah, but he's been out and around. I don't know.
I don't think he would know about Saren.
I think the only person who would probably know is the one who would save that for the last minute just to troll, and that'd be Sliske.
That would be Sliske.
Oh yeah, by the way.
The other Majrat would definitely know because they've been around, but yeah.
Yeah, but they may not have understood the significance of their mission.
Yeah, true.
Very true.
And they didn't have direct contact with Zeros. Only Azzy did, so at least as far as we know of.
Did Zamorak?
Yeah,
I think he might
tell
have.
Wahi he was back.
Rip.
Meaning back in the Second Age, but not now.
No, Zamorak didn't have a connection
in the Second Age,
with him
I'm meaning.
now. I'm talking about now.
Okay. That's why I got confused.
But yeah, so I think that covers pretty much everything for the Memoriam crystals.
Yes.
She did mention at the end, talking about Backstorian, telling Backstorian to go to journey far beyond the city walls, and that's where his empire comes in. Yep. Now that the wars have ended, it is time for my elves to rejoin this world.
aka try and dominate it.
That
wasn't what Saren meant, but then that was what Backstorian did.
That's not really what he did, though, is it?
He dominated a fair portion of it.
I wouldn't say dominated.
Well, he took over.
He took over and was controlling it, but I don't think dominated's the right word.
He built an empire.
I think we're pretty much done with this, though.
Orium.
Any last questions?
Yeah, this might be a good point. I'm going to have to head off, so yeah, if you've got any more memo questions, now would be a good time.
Do you have any? I'm good.
Are we going to have more in the future?
For future memoriam crystals?
Yes.
There aren't any planned, but I wouldn't rule them out. I think they've been a successful way of delivering God-related lore from a good perspective.
Yep.
And I totally agree.
I love this perspective on them. I really love the perspective.
Yep.
Other things akin to it, like the Bandos book from the Mighty Fall, that's kind of similar.
Mm-hmm.
So if not crystals, then I can certainly see something like this.
Yeah. A lot of the gods' memories is a great way to do it.
Crystals are just so appropriate for Saren and Zeros. But for other gods, something similar is, it's the same. I think it's what we're looking for is like the concept of hearing things from the gods themselves.
Like going around to collect all these little bits of lore.
But the thing with the other gods is that maybe we can, like Zaros has a permanent presence, we can try to find ways to just let you talk to them.
That too.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Like, put them all in camps or something.
Yeah,
have headquarters.
I was going to ask about the exploration memory. It says that Guthix has gone to slumber in order to mitigate the drain on the world. Did he do that just because he felt that it was wrong to take too much anima, or did he know that the elders were actively there?
How can I answer that?
What did Guthix know?
Exactly.
It's a loose thread that I think would be dangerous to pull on at this point.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'll keep my eye out then.
It's an astute, it's a good question.
Jascertes talking to Sarah Derp all day. All day, day.
Yeah, right. All day, every day.
Alright, well if you've got I think none of us have any other questions right now, do we?
Nope, I'm good.
Not right now.
Alright.
Well, you're always free to tweet me as well, of course, or post on the forum.
You know I will.
For anybody who does not know, it is at JegX Rowley.
Oh, thank you.
Follow him if you haven't
Twitter for me, brilliant.
Yes.
But yeah, if you guys are all okay, I'm afraid I'm going to have to call that in for myself.
That's alright.
Thank you so much for coming on.
It was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been great fun, and I'll catch up with you guys later.
Sweet.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.
Good luck, Stu.
Thank you.
I think Stu will handle himself quite well.
One of us.
One of us. Stu has been quiet for the last little while, though.
Yep.
He can Walter well.
Saving up the power of Carapac.
Let's get to the voice of the elders.
Yes, let's please get to the voice of the elders. Okay.
The first part is going back on Backstorian's Empire, right towards the end of it. By the time the Kadarn got back to Terranwyn, the bloodshed in the streets of Prifddinas had already ended. Lord Yorworth was in control. So yeah, he got there a bit late. So
he was
late.
Runic late.
Yeah. He was
most likely.
there.
In Melon late, right?
No.
Actually, yeah, I guess it is Melon late now.
Unfortunately for him, the walls of Prifddinas were designed to be indestructible, and he can withstand any siege because Prifddinas is fully self-sufficient. So that's great for Yorworth, but it's really bad for Backstorian since the capital of his empire is now outside of his empire, and he can't get it back.
Yeah. That's kind of a problem. Generally, you want the capital to be in your empire.
But his first mistake was trying to besiege the city, but that just resulted in his army being weakened. Then he found a way for the city to, trying to get the elders outside the city, so Yorworth wouldn't try that much trouble. But the kingdom was collapsing in the other place. His second mistake was letting the kingdom collapse.
Yep.
Eventually, he did get the elders out of Prifddinas, which is good, but the kingdom had already collapsed by then, and the humans' settlements had already been set up and defended. Wait, has it?
They mentioned that he could have immediately counterattacked when his kingdom fell the first time, and probably been successful, but he was more worried about finding Galariel, so.
Right. No. At that point, he was more worried about about saving the clan elders. After doing the clan elders, he went back to the other part of his empire, and he had his entire army search for Galariel. That was his third mistake because they couldn't find Galariel because she was likely dead by then, and the human settlements had already been fortified, so he couldn't take it back.
Yeah. There's one thing in there that he chose to do one thing when he could have counterattacked, and it failed.
End, his empire just collapsed due to a catastrophic failure, and he went and disappeared.
Yep. He went and buried himself, basically.
Yeah.
The humans, what did they say about the humans? I remember that, the humans who were previously under elf control overthrew the elf noblemen and buried the empire. Mm-hmm. As humans are like to do.
Yup.
Yep.
Apparently. So that's that one. Anything we want to mention about that? We've talked a lot about backstory and his empire today, so.
It's very nice to get a lot of information about him from this, though.
Yeah, it is.
But we still don't know.
Galariel still remains a mystery. His movements, at least, are known.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If we could remember what time they occurred at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Cruis part was a poem, a song?
It was a song.
A song about trees.
About trees. Yeah. It is written by Lord Cruis, everyone's favorite elf tree hybrid thing.
Thanks,
it
talks about a lot about the poison waste, which I found a bit interesting because the poison waste is fairly recent.
How long has Arposandra been there?
It's I think it's
at the middle of the Fourth Age.
I imagine Arposandra itself has been there.
It might have been there, like the poison waste, it might have been there shortly after Lord Cruis got there, because I have to think that their experiments with the Anima Mundi can't have been going on for that long.
Yeah.
Especially not when Saren was still about.
Yeah.
She would
I think
not have stood for that.
Arposandra was late Fourth Age.
Yeah. Had to have been.
So, like, their experiments with the Anima Mundi, let's call it early Fifth Age. Like, right on the threshold, like year 2.
I think that sounds right.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So, it hasn't been that long, but let's say it's been half of Lord Cruis's exile. So yeah.
But yeah, that would have been a little bit less than half of it. If the clan leaders went into exile, I don't want to call it exile, they went into hiding.
Yeah.
I'd call it hiding rather than exile, but yeah, for, 1700 of the Fourth Age, and then, yeah. But yeah, so that's that. But yeah, Cruis it mentions the poison of the waste and its effect on the trees, but in general, that's about it.
It's got its charms, but it's hardly relevant.
Yeah. Kind of like Majorat sanitation.
Yeah.
Hey, come on, that was a significant part of that lore.
Oh, of course.
I mean, we all know that Zeros spent eons just troubling over how he could keep his empire's sewers in good shape.
Yep.
Of course he did. He cares about that sort of thing.
Alright, so...
Shows he was a great overlord.
We need,
Yorworth next.
Is the Yorworth, and what we've got here is a Yeston Eater Yorworth. He did this dissertation on a history of elf-human relations. This was what we were talking about with the elf overlords. Modern humans see the kingdom as a myth. They see the work of arts of elven nobles and forget the labor of human serfs that made it impossible. They see the departure of the elves as not as a liberation, but as the end of a golden age. So they liked the Baxtorian's empire, but it was eventually overthrown. And of course, Lord Yorworth used Baxtorian's power in the empire as an excuse for him to get all the power in the empire, and that was complete irony.
And Prif, not so much the empire, but in Prif himself.
Yeah.
Prif itself.
Yep. And then of course there's the bad publicity that the Yorworth had for being associated with spikes and black and the color black. And
oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
spiked skull. Yeah.
Does anyone want to give it a go?
Give what a go?
That's pretty much it.
I mean, this is, it really is like a kind of an essay, a dissertation. It's just very, very factual. Mm-hmm. And I do find it interesting the way that you see the way that they're like the modern humans see the kingdom as a myth. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Let's see, what else do we have?
We've already gone over a lot of Treherne's.
Yeah, I mean the Treherne is just hilarious because it's
my favorite diary.
Treherne is just like, you are terrible, and while bad. You somehow succeeded in what you're trying to do, you're still bad.
You're bad.
Yeah.
You're bad.
Just because you saved us all doesn't mean you don't suck.
You're still fired.
And it's like, it's so demeaning to the human that was able to solve it too. It's like, you couldn't fix it, but a human could. Yep. Oh well.
Like the human that saved us all. Got our city back. But he did better than you. And he's a human. You suck.
Yeah.
You suck, man.
So, and then she accuses these failures of being sabotage. So I can only imagine a boss yelling at an employee who didn't get the right type of coffee or something, like an intern who just screwed up bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just sitting there going, my God, why is she not thanking me? Why is she not thanking me?
This is exactly what she wanted to have happen. But
I should have gotten a raise for this.
Yep. Rip Jascertes. Anyways, but yeah, so that's that. I still love that quote. It feels almost as if you do not want to see me become the immortal leader of an unstoppable army of soulless mechanical elves. It's such a good line. Who wrote that?
John A.
Oh right, that was John A.
Yep.
Oh my God, that's
so
good.
So shall we get to the Amlod? Because this is personally my one of my two favorites, Amlod and Kitten.
I didn't actually read this one, so yeah,
right,
go.
So basically,
all I can say, wait, Lon. All I can say about the Amlod is, did Lord Amlod go to the drug plane?
The LSD plane.
It opens up with saying that he did not he did not know what the spirit plane would be like. He just thought of it like a place where spirit animals just hung out before they were summoned. So then he arrives, and he of course pisses off a Wolpertinger, and he gets cuts, and then he kicked it down a ravine. The Wolpertinger.
I just imagine the Sparta kick of a giant Wolpertinger.
It falls to the bottom and dies. Amlod tries to find its stream to clean his wounds, and he removes his shirt to make a bandage. Yeah, like a shirtless Lord Amlod. Of course we'd want to see that.
No.
He then makes a spear and a bow. No, turns out he did not kill the Wolpertinger, and now they're fighting again.
Yep.
If he were any lesser...
Did you not learn your lesson the first time, Amlod?
This is totally an action movie.
It is.
He attacked, and if he were any lesser of an elf, then he would have died. But this is Lord Amlod we're talking. Yeah. This is the amazing, manly, elfly shirtless.
This is Tom Cruise elf here.
Imagine
Arnold Schwarzenegger elf.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh God.
Stu, please.
Hello.
Stu, please.
Do we have permission to read that out loud?
Oh, I'm gonna read it out loud. Stu just said in chat, Lime, if you tried looking for your Lime bot in a Gothixian cache. Oh, poor Lime.
No, because I unstole it.
Oh God.
Trying to get me to play
But I unstole it because status orange.
Come at me, bro. I got your bot. Lime says I hit you in the gabber. You want Nate?
Oh my God.
Oh God. Anyways, this would qualify as being off topic. Stu, please.
That's great though.
Oh,
let's get back to the shirtless Lord Amlod.
Yes, please.
Oh God.
So
we need like a diehard title for Amlod's thing.
I'm sure they're all used to this now too, like, oh, it's Amlod up to his crap again.
Yeah. This may or may not have happened.
A band.
That's my favorite part.
Oh, man.
So a band of steel titans were watching this amazing duel. So they took Lord Amlod and took him to their king. The Titan King told that Lord Amlod was to be his pack yak.
He managed to remove its ability to live. Walter, why did you word it like that? Why?
Turned off his light switch.
Wasn't it like written? Oh yeah.
It was funnier.
So, Lord Amlod, he ain't nobody's pack yak.
He ain't nobody's pack yak.
He's a strong, independent elf and ain't nobody's pack yak.
He doesn't need a pack yak to complete him.
So, of course,
he's the most summoning.
No Titan, Steel Titan.
He of course challenges the king to a wrestling match. The king dies because this is the elfy summony Lord Amlod.
Amlod is no normal elf.
Yep. He does Pilates. He has that strength.
Oh my
God. He does even lift.
He does even lift.
Yeah. He hangs out on the Serenity posts.
The Titan cheer for Lord Amlod that has freed him from the oppression of the Titan King. I'm pretty sure this is the plot of a Tom Cruise movie.
Oh, of course. Or a
Die Hard with an
Die Hard movie.
They gave him gifts and made him Lord Amlod, Lord of all summoning things.
So many things.
So many things.
Yes.
That's a legit title.
Ladies and gentlemen.
For many hundred years, he reigned benevolently as a benevolent dictator, and he met all the creatures. And Lady Heffen claims that the spirit plane does not obey the normal laws of logic, because this is, of course, Lord Amlod. But instead it's like a dream plane. Lord Amlod thinks this is completely ridiculous.
because he was of course the one that fought the Wolpertinger twice and took down the Titan King to, like, what even?
To become king of all summonies.
Oh my God.
King of all summoning things.
Basically, Lord Amlod took a shitload of LSD.
And he went on a trip.
Yeah.
Did John A. write this one too?
He wrote all of them, yeah.
Okay, so he wrote all.
I think he was trying for a variety of different writing techniques. So as I said, there's a distinction that's song and
it shows.
Notes to William Minions.
This one reads like a movie script.
Exactly.
It's hilarious though.
That's because I read it like movie script.
Oh, that's how Walter wrote it too.
Alright, so let's move on to the Heaven. I like this one because I like the myriad and the light creatures in general.
What's one?
Because they don't get nearly enough attention. But so the city was newly grown, and the crystal bones were like all shimmery and stuff like that. And Lady Heffen is looking out over this new grown city. And then these blue lights, they start coming and flickering around. These are the living light creatures. And Lady Heffen's spiritual sense told her that there was a mind in this light creature. Like, this is this is not just a rainbow. It is not even a double rainbow. This is living light.
All the way across the sky.
Not a double rainbow.
Nope. Anyways. Moving on.
She opens her mind and he reaches out to touch the living light creature. And she sees this vision of a crystal city that once existed. And it was like all clear and light flashed down everywhere. And it was so like shimmery and amazing that the rainbow beams became the living light creatures. The light creatures did not build the city, but the builders were unlike any people Lady Heaven had ever seen. According to Geena, that these people were delicate as a snowflake. What happened was the God Wars happened. And all of the builders died. And the Rainbow City was also destroyed.
What had happened was everybody died.
Pretty much.
GG.
Good answer.
No re.
That's about the gist of it. So now, like, all the living light creatures are grieving. They are now unable to have any more living light creatures. The builders of the city did not worship any god. So as a result, they were destroyed very easily. And the light creatures are all that remains, according to Geena. So now they've come to Prifddinas as like a way to fill that homesickness. And to have a home again. Because Prifddinas is close enough to their original home that it gives them some comfort. And Heaven is like, thank you, Saren, because, like, even a god as pathetic as Saren is right now is still better than what the builders had.
Yep.
So yeah. So, who wants to go with Ethel?
I haven't personally read it, but I can read what Walter wrote.
I guess I'll keep going then.
Story line.
So
it is story time with storyline.
Yes, it is.
Boom, got him.
Boom.
Yes.
Do not forget to put the graphic in there.
Oh, of course I won't. Why would I forget?
Alright,
because
proceeds to
you
forget.
No, I don't.
Occasionally.
No, I write this stuff down. There's a reason I'm sitting here taking notes while we're doing this.
I guess
He writes
not
time
story.
schemes on everything, man.
Anyways,
Get to the
story
story.
time.
Yeah.
Alright, let's do the super fast mode because Jascertes has 4 minutes left.
Then go.
Long story short, Prifddinas was not always made of crystal. In RuneScape Classic, it was made out of wood.
RuneScape Classic.
Oh my god.
But seriously, wood and stone used to be used a lot more. When, like, the elves, traditionally, they would use, wood, because that's all that there was on Tardiad. Apparently, the entire planet was made out of wood or something.
There were lots and lots of trees.
Yeah.
Couple trees.
So, they pretty much used only wood, and that's how they made their city. There was some crystal, and they were taught how to sing it in shapes. So, like, opaque crystal, for buildings, or like, the crystal in weapons. But they didn't have nearly enough to make it into a city like Prifddinas. So, Saren brought the elves to Gilnor. It was made almost entirely out of, wood because there was a lot of wood in the Ice of Dark Forest. The Tower of Voices was carved like the Grand Tree. And I'm starting to wonder if there was like some influence of the gnomes seeing, the elves' amazing tree out of a tower or something.
Did
and then
the
decided
gnomes
they
see that?
The gnomes got jealous of the elves' tree fort and built their own.
Yeah.
I think the Grand Tree just naturally grew like that, but maybe.
I can't remember, how did the Grand Tree
Come to be.
It grew, like, I don't know.
Stu.
Had good genes or something.
They guided it into existence, did they not?
Yeah.
There once were many trees that were that grand, but then because of bots, they were all cut down except for those.
This is not the mightiest tree in the forest.
This story of 08 Scape.
I'll keep going.
Anyways.
Keep going.
I think we're all delirious.
When the God Wars came, they went like, we need to make this more fortified. So they built a great granite wall. And eventually stone replaced wood because stone doesn't burn. Also,
it's amazing how that works.
Yeah. At the end of the God
Elves,
Wars,
on the other hand.
At the end of the God Wars, crystal became the primary building material because Saren shattered herself and they used the shards of her body in order to construct Prifddinas. This is much more durable and much more like versatile than any stone. Because instead of like having a crane or something or scaffolding, you can just sing.
Hey, dead body parts are much better.
The first crystal Prifddinas lasted only a few elven generations, so it's like 3 or 4, until the elders reverted the city to seed form. Yorworth occupied the site of Prifddinas, and the same old story goes. They built the temporary camp out of wood, except this temporary camp lasted for like 500 years.
That's one hell of a temporary camp.
Yeah.
Hey, an elf
To an
here.
elf it is, yeah.
So the current Prifddinas is almost identical to the original crystal Prifddinas, but there were some changes due to current needs, because elves are not dumb.
Go figure.
I know, right? Who'd have thought?
The city currently uses wood, glass, stone, and crystal as holistically, because it is imperfect, but it reminds the city of the rich architectural history, implying that anyone cares. This is being super sarcastic.
Elves.
So should we keep going with the mayor?
Sure.
Not me, I gotta drop out, guys.
Yeah, see you just
later, Jascertes.
Remember,
See ya.
Toodaloo.
So yeah, this is Lime, it's my turn. This is my secret elf form, remember?
Oh yeah, you go.
Oh right, go Geena.
I'll go get a drink of water.
Alright, so, written by...
This is Geena's spirit animal.
By the freaking elf Geena.
Spirit elf. Whatever we're calling it. Okay, it is a letter addressed to Cake Face.
Spirit animal.
Uh-oh.
Oh dear.
I mean, that thing that sort of sounds
It's
like
been
cake
too long.
Kakemix.
Yes. Sort of looks like cake mix or whatever.
Cake mix.
Yeah.
Oh, it totally is.
So, along with
he makes a killer gnome bata.
Yeah, so along with PG, Lady Ballor also makes too many potions.
Too many pots?
No.
This one here, maybe she's on a drug plate of her own, I don't know.
Totally.
Is likely at this point.
Anyway, she used a potion to not only extend her lifespan, but also alter her perception of time to make the long wait seem shorter than it otherwise would be.
So she really was on drugs.
Yes. When you met her, she thought she was still on drugs. Ballor doesn't think her potions would be that useful, because elf lifespans are malleable unlike humans. Legend says that Saren stretched the lifespans, and we know this. Yay for crystals.
Yay.
Yay.
Ballor
poses the possibility that elves originally were humans. Who are you calling quasi-elves?
And all the differences could be due to Saren. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Saren, stop messing with things. I mean, what?
She also wonders if many mortal races were once the same and simply modified by the gods.
And the freaking elves, because of the gods. Kill all the gods.
Pretty sure that's not the true, but okay.
No.
Because of course there was some...
Walter is like, this seems slightly unlikely due to Tier 2 being a requirement for drag modification, or stuff like whatever Bandos did, which I don't remember.
Yeah, most elves live for 500 years.
They're freaking elves, okay?
I love the creepy exoskeleton.
Yes.
Heffen wouldn't take any drugs.
I like that, because it's like, I do not know how that's lime, like...
And the old Earworth likely devoured human souls.
Or used blood magic, something similarly unpleasant.
Oh man.
So, I guess the older Earworth is like Fang. Okay. got this.
Yes. So basically, every single clan had their quirks of like how stuff happened in the first place. Of just it was either a potion, scary ideals, or like who knows what.
Yeah, and then there's Lady Ithel.
Every single clan cheated in a different way.
Yeah.
All the cheating.
There are obviously huge exceptions to said age rule, but yeah.
Yeah.
And, Baxtorian is said to be one of the first elves to arrive in Gielinor. Thousands of years later, he defended Prifddinas in the God Wars, and thousands of years after that, he established the kingdom. Mailer assumes much of it is myth, and thinks there might have been a few Baxtorians, although at least some of these kings likely had unnaturally long lifespans. And one more thing here, Mailer believes that elixir of immortality is possible for humans, but it would be a lot of work, and probably wouldn't work on elves.
Freaking
also,
elves.
Her name is not listed here, and I can't pronounce it anyway.
Wait. I'd actually like to ask Modstu this question. Was there like several Baxtorians, or did he have his own cheaty way to live for thousands upon thousands of years, or is that just like exposure to Saren caused him to live for like ever?
We'll be honest, I kind of
that it was more of a bloodline. I think it was more of a bloodline, so it was more like the name of Baxtorian passed down through several generations over a very long period of time.
That's what I would expect.
Oh.
So there was John, Jimmy Baxtorian, Carl.
It sounds like that's what it sounds like to me when you just went through that, and it's like Baxtorian was the first elves, then thousands of years later you defended, then thousands of years, like obviously it's not the same person, or at least it seems like it's not unlikely that it is the same person.
Either that, or maybe he was the original owner of the enchanted key and he just time traveled into the future.
Oh god.
Breaking history.
Breaking
That's
history.
one way to do it.
No wait, this one was beating history. This one would have been beating history.
Okay.
But it's Elvish, so it has to be like break.
It has to be spelled horribly
Spelled in
unintelligently because
Welsh.
Welsh.
Yeah. Spelled in line Welsh.
Oh god. Breaking history. BRWAKINGG
Those aren't even Welsh
HHIST
spellings.
WY.
It's line Welsh.
I broke history Baxtorian. Oh my god.
The chat just filled with potential names of Baxtorians.
Yes.
All of which are very unrealistic.
Carl Baxtorian. Baxtorian. I broke history Baxtorian.
Backstory
history. Oh my god, that's the quest name. Backstory into the future.
Borking history.
Backstory into the future.
I think Habblet wins. I don't even understand what he put there.
Breaking the what is that like? Oh, I don't even.
Back in history.
Well, let's put it this way. You can it looks like it's a really poorly spelled Tokar name with a bunch of extra symbols.
God.
That's what Hablet's spelling of Breaking History looks like. So.
Oh man. Your favorite character's backstory.
It's clearly just a pane of glass since everyone can break it. Like.
Okay, chat. Oh, chat. Alright, so that brings us to the end of the books themselves. The clan leaders talked a little bit about themselves and about their clans. If you go and bother them and get the title. It is interesting that Lady Ithel is like, I can't handle this. Am I the right person for this job?
Yeah, I really enjoyed dialogue.
You wrote that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
this story that had been made up about her already from Plague's End, where she's had to inherit all this responsibility and the whole clan is relying on her to now be Lady Ithel, and how she deals with that, having the knowledge that's been imparted to her, but not necessarily the wisdom to deal with it effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed
we're getting a quest about this, right?
I do not. It probably explains why she has more dialogue on her than any of the other lords and ladies.
Yeah. It is really interesting, like that. I like that, like the way that you can tell that she's kind of growing, but she's definitely not there yet.
Yeah, she has all the self-doubts.
Yeah. And she's the only, okay, yes, the Nadarin is, different, but, But she's the only one that is truly new to the role of
eldership.
Of the clan leader, right? Because all the other ones had other ways to extend their lives because...
I guess technically Arianwin is new.
Arguably, I guess.
Maybe.
But he still knew that he was Lord Kadar.
Yeah, he was aware that he had these responsibilities.
But he wasn't taking on the responsibility.
Well, he did have the training in running Letia.
Yeah, he run. Yeah, he...
Mm-hmm.
Like, Lady Ethel, she just kind of
she's brand new.
Ran.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was just thrown responsibilities and it's like, go.
Okay, go.
I mean, that's pretty much what it was. Like, yeah.
1, 2, 3, responsibility.
RESP.
No. Lord Amlod is interesting because he talks about food.
Oh.
You know, he's got his priorities straight.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Food. Heffen. What is Heffen? Oh, Heffen is the one that calls you the savior of the city. And she's a traveler on journey to enlightenment, and she doesn't care about, or she doesn't want to talk about her past. Lady Meleer is druggy.
DG's too much.
Yep. She was in the dungeons for so long that she nearly forgot how to make potions with regular herbs. This sounds similar to a certain Geena.
Also, her place is full of DG plants, and then the other side is some other plants.
Yeah. Isn't the other side those plants from the plant puzzle?
Yeah, it is. They're the plants from the plant puzzle.
Yeah, that
I
annoying.
think if you're trying to plant an idea, you should do more puzzles.
Oh dear.
I feel like that's what the real DG skill is. Then you can recognize anything that's even vaguely...
I recognize that.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking like in Broken Home, there's that broken glass room which was just like a DG room, and that's how I knew how to beat it.
Oh, that one.
Oh yeah.
And then there was the chair, which I'm just going to blame for everything in that quest.
On another note, I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave the podcast.
Bye, Lime.
Bye, Lime.
Right, T.
We'll be done soon anyway.
Guys,
Hey, who's going to narrate for it?
Oh, we're almost done. We don't have any more storytelling.
Yeah,
We're basically done now.
Yeah,
Time is over.
See you guys. Thanks.
Later.
Thanks.
Bye.
So moving down the list, we have, we talked about Lady Meleer. With the inn, who's the guy outside the level 115 resource dungeon is, oh wait, no, that's level 95. He's outside level 95. But yeah, he's quote unquote an entrepreneur who's not afraid of taking the odd risk, so he's a sleazeball. We should mention the Garajo
Hordstalker
guy as well, yeah.
It doesn't even exist for me.
Rip.
Because my DG is so low, he literally doesn't show up for me in Demonheim.
I didn't even know that he was in Demonheim until you guys told Ballor to go looking for him.
Wait, he's in Demonheim?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
out by
sitting
Thok.
next to Thok.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
But yeah, the Garajo Hordstalker says that their home is in the spirit plane, which makes sense. He didn't like that life and prefers the quiet and stability of the level 95 resource dungeon, with implings flying around, divine locations randomly appearing, and players coming in and bothering him constantly about cards. That's definitely seems like a good life choice. He's making the cards, which are apparently the lifeblood of the Garajo race, which is something we had no idea about. A small part of his essence is placed in each card. That card can be given to anyone, and it absorbs knowledge from the experience of the card bearer, providing them benefits, and then returns to the Hordstalker so that the knowledge may become his own.
That almost sounds like the effigies.
It does. It does sound similar. Sometimes the experiences that come from the cards manifest. The dungeon he was in was empty when he found it. Everything in it now was a consequence of the cards. So in before House of Cards reference.
There is none that works.
He's still in Demonheim, as the elves just made a way to get to it. So he's still, so we're basically just teleporting all the way across the world. Which is interesting. But, yeah, okay. Level 115 resource dungeon. Carapac. Those who are killed by Edimu apparently become Edimu. So, rip people that die. Yorworth. Oh. The Hedex Mourner. Yeah, that guy.
Oh,
that was a great piece of lore, actually.
Oh, I found his wife in the Eorworth home, and she's like,
yeah,
no, he can't possibly have been evil. And then it was like, I killed your husband, suck on it.
Oh, wait, you killed him?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, so you're missing the lore.
I kill everyone.
When he's alive,
I didn't.
You have the option to lie for him or not. Like not tell his wife, and he lies and makes up that he had children.
You have that dialogue when you're just speaking to his wife, but it's just like, oh, I guess he wasn't lying.
But no, he makes up the names of 3 children, and his wife gets mad at him for lying.
And then he slips up on names of his children.
If you screw up and accidentally tell her that he, was behind this plot, she will get very angry at him and partially not believe you. And then she says, I need to talk to my husband alone, and it ends the dialogue. It's really beautiful, actually. It's kind of upsetting.
I did not know that he was there. Maybe it's because I killed him too. I don't know whether I killed him or not. I can't remember.
You find his wife in the Eorworth mansion. She's either crying in the corner or she's standing next to him. Mine is crying. It's just like, I killed your husband because he was a bad person.
I don't think I killed him, but I never went back to Eorworth.
Kill him. What was I thinking not to kill a freaking elf?
Wow.
Wait. When did we even have the choice to kill him?
Morning's End Part 1?
He was...
When we were going through the corner headquarters.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was the leader guy.
Oh, it was Plague's End. Okay, never mind.
It was a gorgeous set of dialogue, though. I really enjoyed it.
It is good.
Sorry, Stu. I'm not sorry at all.
To see him even.
Sorry, not sorry.
At least letting him live.
Ballor is a terrible person, confirmed.
Yeah,
now you're asking for additional household pet munchies. Yep, you'd make a fine J-mod. Oh my god.
Yeah, I sent a Labrador puppy to a troll.
Oh.
Well, I killed Vanek. And I don't ever want to get.
Anyways. I think that pretty much covers everything we want to at the lore. Is there anything specifically that we need to cover? Walter?
Walter, tell us what everybody else screwed up.
What we're lore failing.
Did wrong.
Alex, who do you know today?
Is a good start, because it means that he's thinking. We didn't miss anything blatantly obvious.
Making him think is always good.
Dark Beasts were there before the Dark Lord. Were they?
But they weren't called Dark Beasts then.
Yeah. Saren says that the Eorworth kills the Dark Beasts.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, Garage or Spirit Plane, we mentioned that. Oh man, BRB setting Runic on fire. Okay, so not much else that I can think of. Stu, is there anything you want to chastise us for failing at?
I don't think so. I think you've been pretty comprehensive.
Probably too comprehensive considering how long we've been going.
Yeah, it's probably a little late for you there.
It's amazing that everyone's still awake.
Live?
I think.
Yeah. The same rule applies to elves. They are nature's kindling.
They're very, very, very flammable.
Oh man.
Elves for XP.
Oh my god.
So first we asked to trip elf children into the crater, and now we're asking
I still support that, by the way. When is this happening,
The demon children need to get thrown into the crater.
Oh, Chris, we already turned gnome children into peaches.
Oh my god.
Into peaches.
We've turned gnome children into peaches. We want to trip elf children over the crater. No, we want to trip elf children, and elf children are falling into the crater as we speak.
Oh
there we go.
God.
Oh my gosh.
You people are terrible.
We have a thing against children.
Best training method.
Now we've turned gnome children into bananas and then eaten those bananas.
Rip.
Well, duh.
Anyways.
No. We peeled the bananas first, and then we ate them.
Oh my god. Anyways, I think we're done here.
Yeah.
As now we're getting way off topic.
Now that Runic and Ballor have turned into Hannibal Lecter, let's move on.
Yes, let's do that.
Hey, Runic is the one that's been making the elf children, the gnome children feel peachy.
Anyways, moving on. But yeah, so that covers everything we wanted to mention about the lore, and the content was in our the other part, so if you somehow missed that one, please go back and watch it. You do get more, Mod Stu and Mod Rowley in that one. I have to just thank Mod Stu for coming on. He's been quiet as of late, but Rowley was the one that wrote all of the dialogue for the, Memoriam crystals, so.
We hope we haven't driven you too insane.
No, I'm handling it. Yeah.
He clearly fits right in.
Never mind.
Yep. My only contribution to the lore books was that I took Mod John A's copy, I formatted it, I tried to squeeze it into one book, I broke our book interface because there was so much text.
You're like, never mind, let's try this again.
So that's why there's part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, because it literally would not fit. It
Nice.
after about half the way point.
But isn't the the Ascension book, like, really, really long too?
That uses some quite glorious shenanigans, we probably won't repeat.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
There's a reason it's collected in actual journal pages, I think.
Right. Yeah. But, alright, so, that should cover everything. And yes, once again, a big thanks to Mod Stu for coming on, and thanks to Mod Rowley, who already had to take off because we've taken so damn long.
This tool, it gives you an idea for the viewers, this tool is currently sitting at 4 hours and 10 minutes.
No big deal.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Stu still has 10 hours to go, it's okay.
Side note, Stu, I think the result of your poll was pretty conclusive. You need to stream more.
I think it was.
Yeah, actually, I have been looking into that. Hopefully starting sometime in December, I'm hoping to start doing a weekly live stream.
Nice.
Yay!
That'll be fun.
I'll be a little more talkative than that one.
Well, there's so many of us here
already, so I didn't need to say much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to actually make some like legitimate like Q&As if the actual Jagex podcast doesn't take that idea.
Yeah.
Well, they already did, but I mean individual.
Or they can just have us on, that would be fun too.
Or just have a bunch of kids talking about video game, yay!
Well, isn't that what we already do? Isn't that what they already do? Anyways, and some of us aren't kids. Some of us, I'm very much old enough to be a J-mod, so.
Yeah, he's in his 80s, it's okay.
Yeah. Anyways. But yeah, thanks to everybody for watching. We will be back in 2 weeks, I believe, for after the Heart of Stone is released. We're definitely
BTS.
Maybe December BTS, depends. I think we're gonna have one before. I think the Heart of Stone gets released, and then we're gonna have a week later December BTS comes out.
That sounds about right.
I'm pretty sure that's how it's gonna happen. But yeah, so thanks to everybody for watching, and we hope you enjoyed it, even though it was ridiculously long.
There's a lot to okay.
Yes, there's a lot to Prif. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.